Hi, Shauna. This is Scott Hansen.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm doing better. I had sinus surgery last week.
Oh, goodness. That does not sound fun.
And you're not going to be happy with Joel.
What's going on?
Well, let's see. I knew that I was going to be having sinus surgery. So I asked Joel by text message, in which I still have the messages, if he could bring the kids out to my place because of doctor's orders. Well, I knew on Thursday I had a court date, to be in court.
Uh-huh.
So I was at that. But afterwards, I was at home, and I actually had my PSR worker coming out to keep an eye on me all the way up until Friday or Saturday. After that, she got busy with all her other clients that she has, And so I asked Joel if he could bring the kids out to my place to have the visits at my place, And he originally said okay. Then he turned around and changed his mind. Why? I don't know.
Well, I think probably because you were able to make it to court, so he probably assumed you could make it in here.
Well, my doctor's orders were to stay home and not to do anything.
Do you have a copy of that doctor's order?
I could probably get a copy of it, yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, if you didn't produce that to Joel, then he wouldn't have known that that was doctor's orders.
In fact, I think I actually still have the paperwork from that. Yeah, I do. It says in the paperwork that I have to take it easy. In which going out to do something like what he was wanting me to do, violating it, It says you should avoid any activities that increase bleeding or pain in your nose. You should rest today and engage only in moderate activities for the next 3 to 5 days. And it says, however, walking frequently is important. It is important to deep rest frequently and whatnot, And with the medicine that they have me on, it actually made me sleepy, So technically I wasn't supposed to go out at all because of the medicine.
Okay, unless you provided him something that said you couldn't do that, then he's not going to have violated medical policy for you.
Well, he already knew that because of last year when I had the same procedure done last year. Mm-hmm. He did the same thing then. He actually brought the kids out to my place for the visit.
Whereas the termination of parental rights has been filed, he's not going to typically bend over to help you to have, visits at your home and things like that. So,
the same thing had already been done last year when he did bring the kids out.
But termination hadn't been filed at that point.
Yeah, it had, because I had the surgery done during the summertime last year. I actually have a video of it.
Last year in 2013?
No, 2014.
Oh, okay. And when was termination filed for?
It was after I had moved into... actually, termination was filed before I moved into where I'm at right now. And so where I'm living right now is where he brought the kids to. And like I said, I actually have a video of the visits being done at my place. In fact, I actually had blood coming out of my sinuses at the beginning of the video.
Okay. Whereas you made it into court, he probably assumed that you could make it into the meeting here, which is where all your visits have been brought into. So with you having visits at the office on a regular basis, that would be the expectation unless you have something that specifically says you're to stay home. Okay? So you would have to get something from your doctor that says you're supposed to stay home.
In fact, I have the video up right now. The visit was done on 2014-07-18
Okay.
of last year.
Okay.
So that was...
Again, though, at this point, Joel didn't violate any medical orders that you had because you didn't show him a copy of anything that said you have to stay home. Okay? So you've got to produce to him, if you've got to stay home and you can't have you can't have visits here at the office, then you need to provide him written doctor's excuse for that, and then that would have to fit into the rest of parts of your life too. So whereas if you showed up in court, then yes, he would assume that you can physically go to the office for those visits.
Well, I had to be there for court, though. It was because my attorney that I had at the time, in which I now don't have any attorney at all, was trying to get an extension for the case, for the termination case.
You don't have an attorney right now?
No, I don't. And the judge is gonna... Because my attorney that I did have found out that through looking at the documents or whatnot, that there was a conflict of interest.
Oh.
And so therefore he had to give it back to court.
Oh, okay. So you're in between attorneys. You're getting a new one, though.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And on top of it, there's some other information that I should tell you about.
Okay.
Joel knows that I have a video of my daughter telling me that she's being abused in the foster home. And let me finish. This last Friday, he tried to have me sign a paper that if I talked about the case or anything related to the case or tried to get any more information about her being abused or whatnot, that they were going to stop any and all visits. I didn't sign that document at all, because I told him in which I actually recorded the conversation with my phone that I wasn't going to sign anything until my attorney looked at it. Well, since I don't have an attorney, I'm still not going to sign anything like that.
Okay.
And which was telling me that he was trying to cover up the fact that he knows that my daughter's being abused in the foster home.
Okay. I'm aware of your information to, oh goodness, I forgot, Kendra, is it? Up in the governor's office area. I'm aware of that, so I'm aware of the foster care abuse and situation, and it has been looked into. And so at this point...
that's probably why he tried to have me sign that document then. Because he found out about someone looking into my daughter being abused.
Well, I think the paperwork that is being asked of you to sign is so that you know what the rules are.
Well, like I also said, I'm not going to sign anything like that at all.
That's fine. You can talk with your attorney when you get a new attorney, but the rules are going to stay the same. You can't be having adult conversations with your children. You need to be having your visits at a level that, how old's your kids? 6-ish? And, I don't know, 3-ish?
No. My daughter is 6 and my son is 5.
5, okay. So you've got to have visits for children at a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old level. You can't be talking with them about what's going on with your attorney or things like that. So that's why those rules are being asked for you to follow. Whether you sign that paper or not, you still have to follow those rules. But definitely,
even though it violates my constitutional rights?
Yes. Because it violates your children's constitutional rights if you're not appropriate with them.
Well, technically, kids don't have any constitutional rights until they turn 18.
Well, they do have a right to be safe and happy and have a visit with
their
dad.
But they also should be able to tell their parents what's going on with them in the foster home, too.
Yes, they can tell you, but you don't need to sit and ask them and question them and tell them adult things.
Well, when I found out that my daughter was being abused, I wasn't asking them if they were being happy or if they were being abused or anything. I actually asked them why they didn't like what was going on. And she told me what was happening. That her hair's being pulled and she's being slapped on the hand so hard that there was still a friggin' mark on her hand when I saw her that day.
Okay.
And Joel wasn't even there at all. He was supposedly that day in Preston.
I am aware that there was another worker in there and that law enforcement has spoke with that other worker. So that's going to be up to law enforcement if they feel like there was something there or not. So we'll allow that to proceed if the appropriate action is being taken, okay?
Yeah, well, just so you know, I've already talked to the FBI.
Okay.
And they've heard the section of the video and everything else. And they know that what's going on is not right. So something better be done with Joel, period. Because he is obviously bound determined, no matter what, to try to take my kids from me. Including if that means falsifying documentation or whatnot. And I don't know if you saw that video that I had put up on the internet.
No, I did not.
Well, it has to do with the paperwork that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And it is up on YouTube, and it's getting a lot of hits.
Okay, you and I looked at that documentation on the medical. There was not any falsification of the records. Remember, I offered to have you come in.
That's actually a double negative no matter what for the state, though. Because someone else pointed out to me that even if it's not a false document, it still looks bad for the state itself because my daughter wasn't in my care at the time when that document was supposedly made. My daughter was in foster care. So therefore, that shows that my daughter's being abused in foster care. So either way, it's a double negative for the state. Either it's false or it's real, in which either way, it's a negative for the state of Idaho. And it's already been admitted in the courtroom.
Okay.
So
again,
the judge, when he's...
Those are things you need to talk with your attorney about. And I know that you're without an attorney right now. But as soon as one gets appointed to you again, then that's what you can talk with them about.
Yeah.
All right? So in the meantime, when you come to do your visits, you need to make sure that you talk with your kids about kid things. Talk to your attorney about your legal things. Okay? And I hope you get an attorney soon.
Well, you do know that I already found an attorney that's going to take my case on pro bono and suing the state, don't you?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And since I do have documented proof and everything to show that the state is violating my rights and whatnot, I am going to actually win.
All right. So, yes, that is your option to get an attorney for pro bono to look at
The only reason why he hasn't filed the paperwork yet is because he's got too many other cases right now.
Okay.
But he's not going to have all those cases for long. You know?
Okay. So, until he does that, then, I assume you'll get a court-appointed attorney again for your child protection piece of the case.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get that person, then that's who you need to talk with about, the paperwork on any visits or anything like that. And it's up to the judge if you continue to get visits. But the department can take it to the judge to say, we recommend no visits if they're not appropriate for the children. So we just want you to, be appropriate with your children when you're talking with them on visits. We want it to be about kid stuff and, not about your case stuff. So we want you to talk to your attorney about the case stuff. So
when my daughter told me about being abused, that wasn't even part of the case.
Okay, and you can listen to what she has to say, and also Joel or whoever else is there is going to be hearing that, and then they can work on that. And then after your visit, you can talk with them about it and say, did you hear that? And are you working on it? But it's not something we want you to be asking about and probing questions and that type of thing. So talk with your attorney as soon as you get one appointed and see if he wants to do anything different with all of That is absolutely your option.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, I'm hoping that the FBI is actually going to take and step in and do something.
Okay.
So if you don't want the FBI stepping in, I suggest you take Joel off this case.
I do not mind if the FBI steps in. That is fine. If they feel like they have something to step into, to work from, that's good. I mean,
Yeah, well, I know that Joel's doing something illegal.
Okay, well, I do not find that he's doing anything illegal. I did not find that he falsified any documents.
Well, like I said, it's a double negative for the state on that one.
Okay.
Either it's falsified, or even if it is real, it shows that the state is abusing my child or kids in foster care. And it shows that it's been going on since October of last year, all the way till my daughter said what she did on that video. That means that the state is doing something wrong. And if you're going to keep supporting something like that, then I feel sorry for anyone that's involved with this case, because every single person's going to probably end up losing their job. Because I don't think the governor's going to really like losing $12 billion in court. And like I said, I do have that good of a case in order to win.
Well, and that'll be up to you and your attorney, and like I said, that's your prerogative, that's your right to be able to consider, doing something like that, so that's fine.
Don't walk all over my constitutional rights on being able to find out information from my kids about what's going on with them in the foster home.
Our job is to make sure that your kids are safe and protected. And
yeah, that's my job too. That is my job as well, because I am their dad. And I'm trying to do my job by trying to find out what's going on with them in the foster home. Now, that is my constitutional right, and it is my job as their father to find out that information. And if the child protection doesn't like it because it's showing that there's something illegal going on while my kids are in their care, then that's not my fault.
Okay.
And just...
Scott, I don't think anything is illegal happening to your kids. If it is, we do want to know about it.
Well, it is.
That is something that we will keep.
How would you like your hair being pulled?
I would not.
That is what my daughter told me on the video.
Okay, I'm aware of that. I am aware of that.
And you don't consider that illegal?
That is being looked into by law enforcement.
They've already told me what they're doing. I already found out from them what they're doing. They only filed it, and they're not doing anything else at all right now. At least not here in town. I don't know about down there in Mount Pillier.
Okay, so law enforcement has said that they are filing it and they're not proceeding with anything further?
At least not here in town, but I don't know about down there in Mount Pillier.
Okay, and I did not
And they
know
do have a
that.
copy of the video. They do have a copy of the video to show that the foster parents are doing this to my kids.
Okay. So, again, that's up to law enforcement if they're going to do something further with that. So, if they're not going to, that is their choice.
And like I said, it is my job as her father and constitutional rights to be able to find out what is going on with my kids in foster care.
I recommend you talk with your attorney about that so that you don't do something that you're not supposed to. And again, that's going to be his advice to you as a legal representative. And since you don't have one right now, that kind of leaves you in this, I hope they get you one soon so that you have someone to talk to. Do you know when they're going to appoint someone new?
No, not yet. I'm going to go talk to the lady today, and that's going to be looking for that attorney. And I'm going to make sure that she sees the video. And I'm going to put that video up on YouTube, by the way. That section where my daughter's telling me. Because it doesn't say anything about names or anything. So I'm not violating the judge's court order at all. Okay? And I'm only going to play the section that shows my daughter telling me about her being abused in the foster home. And I'm going to put that up on YouTube.
Whatever the judge ordered you in the way of not putting the kids up or whatever, you need to make sure you're following that. So that's why I'm saying you need to talk to an attorney. I hope they get you one later today when you talk to this lady.
Oh, I am going to put that.
An attorney.
I am going to put that section of the video up on YouTube, and I'm going to guarantee that's going to have major ramifications in the long run, because that's going to keep people from coming here on vacation. It's going to keep people from coming here to go to school. It's going to also keep people from coming here to live. In fact, it's probably going to drive half the population of Idaho out of the state. So it's going to have a lot of major ramifications when that video hits YouTube. So,
and again, all I'm saying is that whatever the judge ordered you, you still need to adhere to whatever that order was. So,
like I said, as long as it doesn't say anything about names or anything, I'm not violating the judge's court order.
And he didn't tell you to not put videos up of your kids?
He says as long as their names are not said, it's okay. And in that section, there's no names being mentioned.
Okay, I don't know. You need to, again...
And even if I have to do it in an audio variation, I will. Like I said, I am going to put that up on YouTube.
I just want you to make sure you're following whatever the judge ordered you. And I know
I will.
Your previous attorney, and since you don't have one, I just want you to, be thoughtful about that so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Because if you don't have an attorney right now, then
but I can see that no one there at Child Protection is really giving a fuck about my kids being abused in foster care.
Yes, we do care if they are. Because
then take Joel Corrington off this case.
Well, Joel's
because
not using the kids. We're not going to take Joel.
He's allowing the foster parents to do so. And he's known about this since October of last year. So between October and the time that video was made of this year, it was the first video of this year.
Please calm down a little bit. What I'm trying to say
that is months worth of abuse.
Law enforcement, if they're not pursuing this, they did not feel the child was abused. If law enforcement felt that the child was being abused, then we would absolutely follow their lead on this. But if they are not feeling that there was abuse, then it's going to be a done deal. It's not going to be determined to have been abuse. If you told me law enforcement is not pursuing this and filing it...
I got a question for you. How would you feel if this was your kid?
Yeah, I'd probably feel like you do.
Okay then.
But do you realize that law enforcement has investigated it?
Yeah, well, they also didn't know about the documentation that I've got up on YouTube about the paperwork showing back in October of last year that my daughter was already being abused.
Okay,
and when I show them, when they see that video up on YouTube, and they will, they're going to realize that this has actually been going on for quite some time. And then they will do something. And then what are you going to do then at that point?
Scott, that medical report that you and I looked at was not about abuse.
It's saying that my daughter was being abused. It's saying that my daughter had bladder problems back in October.
It said that she had a bladder problem. It did not say that
and they're trying to use that against me in court.
Oh, well.
And that is the same documentation that we're talking about. That shows that my daughter was being abused in foster care.
I don't know what they're using against you in court, but what I'm saying is that document that you and I looked at.
Well, that is the document that I'm talking about. They are trying to use that against me in court. Saying that I'm responsible for my daughter having bladder issues back in October of last year. When I didn't even have physical custody of my daughter back in October of last year. Now, how can I be responsible for something when I didn't even have physical custody of my daughter at the time that this happened?
All of the documents that your attorneys have had is something that could or may not be used in court. How do you know that someone's going to try to use that document to say it was abuse?
Because Joel has already told me that everything that my attorney had, the attorney that I did have, is going to be used in court.
Well,
now, that means that document is going to get used against me in court somehow.
You don't know how they're going to use it against you. You don't know if it's...
It's probably blood going down the back of my throat.
Oh, okay. So you don't know if it was to say that you abused her.
Well, that's the thing, though. How can I abuse my daughter when she's in foster care and I don't have physical custody of her? Mm-hmm. But it's still in the paperwork for the case being used against me. And this isn't the first time that he's actually lied about something to the judge or anything else on paper. He's actually, and I actually do have the videos on YouTube. Okay, I don't know if you've seen them. They've got the CP case file, CV2013913. All the videos that have that case file number, in which is for the CP case.
Yeah, and I'm aware of those.
The two first videos with my kids, you can hear them in the background and whatnot. This was before the judge's court order about me not doing anything with my kids on YouTube.
Okay.
Where it shows their names or, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this was before that, so they get to stay on the internet because it was before the court decision.
Right. And I'm aware of
And those two videos show that I did interact with my kids and whatnot. Even though Joel filed paperwork and he was sworn in under oath saying opposite. Now, that's showing that he is lying about part of the case. Let me finish before you even start saying, because I have a whole lot more to say. In fact, when he took my kids last year, when he did so, the allegation was against my ex-wife, and it was from Pocatello Children's Clinic, in which hadn't even seen my kids for a month and a half. Okay, when they made this report. They hadn't seen my kids at all. But they made a report saying that my kids were not being fed. Now, how can they say something like that when they hadn't even seen my kids for a month and a half? And another doctor was actually seeing them. But he turned around and took my kids based on an allegation that was never investigated, and which was also a lie on top of it. And he knew it was a lie because he knew that we had tons of food in the house. So how can anyone support someone that's doing something like that that's illegal?
Okay. So all of these things that you're talking about are things that you need to talk with your attorney about, because that's what's going to be held in the court hearing. That's up for the judge to decide all these things. Okay?
So you're just going to blow off everything that I just told you that Joel is doing that's illegal because of what reason? Why are you blowing off what I'm saying?
Okay, let me tell you. Because this has all been looked into, and Joel has not done anything inappropriate.
No one looked into that, and no one's even looked into the fact that he violated the reunification court order.
Yes, it has been looked into, Scott.
By who?
When Kendra provided that information, then all that was looked into and given back to her, and they sent you out a letter.
I haven't received any letter at all.
From the governor's office?
I haven't received any letter from Child Protection saying that they even did an investigation on him.
No, it would have been from the governor's office.
I still haven't received any letter from him either.
Okay. So did she call you back?
She was supposed to call me back, but she hasn't called me back at all. And I did talk to her today.
A long time ago when you talked with her.
Yeah, and I talked to her today on the phone, and she hasn't even called me back with a phone number that she said she was going to take and provide for me to talk to someone about what's going on.
Okay. Who was she going to connect you with?
She didn't say.
Oh, okay. All right, so when that information was provided, we did look into it, and we did determine that Joel had not lied on the stand. What he was saying was that your interaction was not child-friendly, appropriate interaction, that you were talking with things that were not appropriate with your children. So that's what you need to work on, that's what rules he's trying to say You need to talk with your kids about appropriate child things, not be talking with them about other things that are inappropriate.
Now I'm seeing how bad child protection really is. And child protection needs to be shut down, I think. Because if you guys are not going to say that he's doing anything wrong, when I have proof showing that he has, then child protection needs to be shut down. They
Scott,
really do.
Your interpretation of something being wrong...
I know that this is wrong.
...is different than ours, okay? That's what your judge is going to decide. When you take this to court, that's what your judge is going to decide. That's what you need to provide to your attorney. That is your legal right to do so. Provide that to your attorney so he can plan his defense for you in that court action. So all of this needs to be provided to your attorney, and I know you don't have one right now. Hopefully today you will get one, a new one.
I don't know when I'll get a new one.
Okay.
But I will tell you this. As soon as the paperwork gets filed against the state for the lawsuit, I'm not going to back down, and I'm going to keep charging through on it no matter what. And when the state loses $12 billion because you guys are saying that he's not doing anything wrong or illegal when I have proof showing otherwise, and everyone ends up losing their job because of him, that's on you. Just remember that.
Okay. So...
And one other thing you should know.
Yeah.
I videotape everything.
Okay. And that is fine as long as you're doing that with your attorney's blessing, because there could be some legal issues around that. So please make
I'm
sure...
going to be using it in the lawsuit. It's not just going to be used in the courtroom to get my kids back. It's also going to be used in the lawsuit, too.
Okay.
And since I did inform you that I videotape everything, it's not illegal.
Okay.
See, I do know the law very well. I've looked into it, and I've been getting educated because of Joel's bullshit that he's doing. Pardon my French, but I am getting a little peeved at child protection for their inactions for what one person is doing that is wrong. Okay? And if you guys can't say straight out that he's in the wrong at all, and you know that he's in the wrong because of all this evidence that I've got, that's on you.
Okay. The falsifying of the documents was looked into, and he was not in the wrong. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, if he hasn't...
The law enforcement, it's up to them. If
then,
they're going to pursue...
like I said, then that just shows that child abuse has been getting done to my kids since October of last year, in which, since you guys won't take him off the case because he obviously has known about this since October of last year, because he was the one that provided this document to my second attorney that I had. I've had 3 different attorneys, okay, and he provided this information to my second attorney showing that this has been going on since October of last year. And that means that...
The abuse from the foster parent? Is that what you're talking about?
The bladder issues that are being talked about in that document still shows abuse being done to my daughter. It's a different form of abuse, but it's still abuse. Okay? It's showing, and on top of it, the foster parents put her in pull-ups. When Joel took my daughter and son, the only one that was in pull-ups was my son. My son is actually in underwear now, and my daughter's in pull-ups. And I've got a therapist telling me that that's going to affect my daughter mentally, because that's showing that the foster parents don't really want to work with my daughter on getting her to the bathroom or whatever when she needs to. And that's still a form of abuse. Because my daughter is 6 years old, coming up on 7 this June 18th. Okay? And that's going to affect my daughter mentally. And if you guys can't consider mental abuse or anything, then you guys really need a reality check.
Okay, so again, Scott, this is all stuff that you need to provide to your attorney, and he needs to take it into court.
Oh, I will.
Okay. So
and I'm going to be spreading the news all over the internet about what the state of Idaho does that's illegal. And that the CP workers higher up won't do nothing about it.
Okay, and I encourage you to follow the judge's orders, and that's about all I can do on that issue, okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well,
and like I said, I know my rights, and I'm going to stick with them. And if CP doesn't like it, then that's too bad.
We'd like you to talk with your attorney so that he can decide what he's going to put in front of the judge. That's what we want. That's where it's all going to be decided. Because you don't agree with what Joel's doing. And Joel
I don't agree with you guys allowing someone that's obviously doing something wrong with this case still being on the case. I don't even agree with that.
Well, and I don't know that you'd agree with any of our staff carrying the case. But at this point, we're not...
Well, I'd rather have someone that's actually got a heart that actually is doing the job for the right reasons and not for the money. Because Joel is obviously showing that he's not doing this for the kids by allowing my daughter to be abused like she is. Okay? And he's only in this for the money. And yeah, I know that CP workers, after they take kids from the parents and whatnot, and when the kids get adopted out, the CP workers get a variation of that amount of money in a bonus check.
Oh,
yeah, no, I do know about that.
That's incorrect.
You can say that all you want, but I've already figured it out in my head, and it actually makes sense. Because since Idaho doesn't have an adoption agency in place to take care of these kids for being adopted, the money goes to the state. The state still pays the CP workers, so they pay the CP worker through that amount of money that way. And trust me, you guys do get a bonus whenever the kids do get adopted out.
Alright, so like I said, I hope you get an attorney so that you can talk with them about all these things, because that's where it needs to be dealt with, is in the court hearing, okay? I don't think there's a whole lot more I can do for you at this point. If I knew what phone number Kendra was trying to get for you, I would try to help you with that. But I assume that she will get back with you if that's what she said she'd do, okay?
Well, it's been over a half hour since she actually said that, so I'm obviously getting the idea that she doesn't really care either. Just like you guys are showing that you don't care if he's doing something wrong or not at all.
Sometimes it takes a little longer than a half hour for her to get, whatever job done that she needs to do. I don't know what her job duties all entail. So hopefully she gets back with you. Like I said, if I knew what it was for, I would try to assist, but I assume she'll get back with you. If there's something I can do to help you out in the future, please do call me. But I do hope that you get an attorney so that you can make sure that your attorney knows this information to be able to present it to the judge in your behalf and with you there, So there's probably not much more that I can do at this point.
You could have taken Joel off the case already.
That is not something that we're willing to do at this point, no.
All right. That just makes you responsible for anything that happens to my kids. And trust me, I do know that my kids are being abused. I have video evidence of it. And a document that shows that my kids are actually being abused physically as well through bladder problems or whatnot. Because my daughter, before she got taken, didn't really have any bladder issues at all. In the 5 to 6 years that we had her, she never had a bladder problem.
Okay. Make sure your attorney knows that.
Oh, he'll have my daughter's full medical background in order to show proof of it in court. And which is going to show the judge that the state is doing something wrong and illegal with my kids.
Okay. All right. I need to get going. I've got other cases that I've got to deal with right now at this point. So, again, if there's something I can do to help you in the future, please do feel free to call me, okay?
All right. And like I said, I videotape everything.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Scott. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, as everyone just heard, CP doesn't really care what they do with your kids. In fact, they won't even take a CP worker off the case when they are doing something wrong and illegal to your kids in foster care. So my suggestion to everyone out there that has kids that they're dealing with CP or whatnot, do what I do. Videotape everything and tape record or whatever. Do whatever you have to in order to show proof that the CP workers are doing something illegal. Because this cannot be allowed to continue. And as you heard, they are even willing to walk all over my rights on trying to find out what's going on with my kids in foster care. And that means they don't really care about the parents' rights to knowing what is going on with their kids when they're in foster care. They don't care about that. All they care about is trying to take your kids away from you so they can make money. That's all it's about. And that's called child trafficking. And that's illegal in all 50 states. And to the CP worker that I was just talking to, I hope you see this. Because your job is on the line, not mine. I have nothing to lose. And I will get my kids back. And I will sue the state for your inactions on dealing with Joel Corrington on what's going on. Okay? So Shannon Miller, I hope you remember this. Because it's your butt on the line. Because you are the one that's letting him continue with all of this. So, have a nice day. And everyone out there, don't ever come to Idaho. In fact, I think we should all take up arms or whatnot for child protection inabilities to do what's right according to the Constitution. So, in fact, it does say in the Constitution that when people in government fail to do their jobs, it is the responsibility of the people to elect new people, and if those people can't do their jobs right, then to take up arms. It says that in the Constitution. And it doesn't say how you should take up arms, but it says that you have the obligation to take and do so. And if we continue to let child protection keep doing what they're doing, then we are just as guilty as they are on what happens with our kids. They're our kids, not theirs. They're not the ones that went through 9 months or anything else with those kids. They're not the ones that gave birth to those kids. They're not the ones that stress out over their kids. So, for them to take and have all this ability to take your kids away off from allegations that are not true or anything, it's just wrong. So, people need to take and wake up and take an action against bullshit like this. And it is bullshit. Have a nice day.